Good evening, folks. This is Deb and Dave, and this is the Factivist Report for Sunday, the 3rd of March. And tonight we're going to talk about, we're not going to just talk about winning the Senate. We're going to talk about expanding the Senate, because that's really where we have to go, okay? Now, I know people are saying, oh, the Democrats won't be able to expand the Senate for a long time. You know what? Don't listen to them, because if the Republican Party is not on the ropes right now, then we have a problem as a nation. We need to expand the Senate if we're going to get anywhere. So here's Dave.
Which means retaining the seats that we have as well as picking up, seats. So, and listen, we don't know what's going to happen with Manchin or with West Virginia. We don't. But people have already written that state off. Look at the guy. Look at the guy who's running. Okay, and
look at
everybody
the guy who's running, and look at the fact that Joe Manchin's constituents weren't very happy with him, and I believe that that's why Joe Manchin is not running again.
Right.
Okay, and he's not running on the loose lips ticket, or whatever the fuck that no labels
ticket. Yeah. Loose lip. Well, here's another thing. It is well known that with Senate and House seats, a lot of this people tie the senator or the House rep to the current president, to the sitting president, which is why you hear all throughout a lot of these GOP senator candidates and their websites, Biden and his reckless spending policies and the economic disaster that he and whatever senator of that state, participated in, blah, blah, blah. Deb gave me an article a few days ago, and I read it, and it's absolutely correct. It's from the New Republic, in February, and it's basically saying that Biden, with all of the circumstances and all of what he had to deal with, along with his performance record, has been a historically good president. Look at everything he had to deal with. He had to deal with a coup. He had to deal with a worldwide pandemic. He had to deal with economic downturn. And by the way, employment is up. The gas prices are sane. All the stuff that they're talking about is crap. He had to deal with a major potential rail strike, which nobody really talks much about. And he got things done despite not only a GOP House majority, but the majority of those people don't even believe he's the real sitting president.
Right. The GOP House says they've done absolutely jack squat since they took control of the House. And in fact, they have done everything in their power to stop Joe Biden from doing anything also. You can't deny this anymore. All right. This is absolutely ridiculous. Name one thing. I mean, I can give you a list of things that Joe Biden has done to benefit the American people. I want you to tell me, in all honesty, what you think the GOP has done to benefit the American people. They've done absolutely fucking nothing since they took control of the House. They're useless. They waste money on endless goddamn oversight committee meetings that produce absolutely no results. Okay? It's incredible. So I'm of the mode that, I'm not going to give you one more video telling you everything Joe Biden has done. I've already done 3 of those. Okay.
Right.
There's a website out there. It's called the White House website. You can go and see everything the man has done. Okay.
This article is by Stuart Stevens. I'm just going to give a couple.
Yeah, this is great, actually. It's an excellent article.
I mean, the biggest land war since World War II, the invasion of the Ukraine. And now we're dealing with Israel and Hamas at the same time. Okay. Um, Not only that, so stock market hitting record highs, unemployment at record low with 14 million new jobs. Okay. Small business owners, they're having problems finding workers. A child born in the first Republican infrastructure week would have been entering grade school by the time President Biden passed the largest public spending initiative in American history. Okay. Uh, President took President Biden to give Medicare the power to directly negotiate with Big Pharma to lower prices and cap the cost of insulin for Medicare beneficiaries at 35%. And now the United States is producing more oil than any other country than any country in history. And this author of this article acknowledges that yeah, oil is bad, but right now it is what it is. And he's also, with Biden, has pushed a $7 billion solar power investment project. So, and by the way, not everything, I wasn't happy with everything he's done, but I understood his position on everything that he has put out there. Everything.
And let's consider this, not only is he working with a group of people who don't believe he's a legitimate president, but they have spent the better part of their time trying to impeach this guy. They've impeached Mayorkas for no reason at all. Okay. This is unconscionable what the Republican Party is doing. Joe Biden is not the problem. By the way, Sonny Bunch and the people from the Bulwark, which is a conservative publication that I actually subscribe to, they understand. And they said that Joe Biden is completely capable of running the country. He has been running the country. It has not been Barack Obama in the background, as the Republicans are saying. Okay?
And by the way,
Obama's busy making movies and winning Emmy Awards right now.
right, who has pushed continuing resolution after continuing resolution? That's Mike Johnson. That's not Biden.
Right. All right, let's get on to the Senate.
So we're starting with the Feinstein seat. Okay. Now, the person that LaFonza Butler was appointed by Gavin Newsom. She is not running again. And by the way, that was a really smart and fantastic appointment, but she decided not to do it. African American, and she happened to be gay. So, and she's done a fine job. But now they're looking for someone else. There are three people, three Democrats running for this seat. Okay. We have Adam Schiff, we have Katie Porter, and we have Barbara Lee. And then on the Republican side, we have Steve Garvey, which we'll talk about in a minute.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Maybe somebody hit him in the head with a baseball. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're going to see a pattern with all of these websites. Okay, this is Adam Schiff, Adam's accomplishments. And by the way, almost every single person running for Senate who's a Democrat, they're making this a point in their campaign defending democracy. This is the first time in history anyone's had to do this.
And believe me, we have to do this. This is no small threat here. Okay. What you're seeing is not a threat. This was not going to right itself. Okay.
Right.
It's not going to just work its way out of the system. It's gone way too far for that now.
Barry Goldwater was bad enough. Nixon was bad enough. Trump
makes Nixon, whatever
looks
Nixon
like a choir boy.
Whatever Nixon did with Watergate, whatever he did pales in comparison to this.
There's a couple things, All right. Cost of living pension increase for California teachers led on legislation passed into law that provided grants to universities and increased local film production that protected local jobs. During the pandemic, he successfully expanded unemployment insurance for contractors and freelancers struggling to get by. Okay, so that's just two or three things. Now we go to Katie Porter. Okay, and again, yeah. We're going to go to key issues for a second. Or maybe not. Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. Oh, that's plans. Okay. So again, you saw this last week on the Republican side. This is where we are on the Democratic side. Cleaning up corruption, housing and homelessness, unrig the economy, healthcare, veterans, older Americans, public safety and gun violence, abortion access, worker empowerment, which is basically unionizing, immigration, combat the climate crisis, environment, education, childcare, racial justice and freedom, disability rights, and LGBTQIA plus rights.
You don't see this on any Republican website, okay? They don't do this.
Nope. Nope. And this is Barbara Lee from California Matters. Okay. In Congress, Lee is best known for being the lone vote against using military force in Afghanistan in 2001 after the 9/11 terrorist attacks and voting often to withdraw troops from foreign countries. Okay, so.
And yes, she is probably the most progressive of all three. And I really like all of them, actually.
Right.
It's not my state, but I like all of them, and we need a Democrat to win.
Not
So,
for nothing, any one of these three would be fine. Right now, I'm hearing that Adam Schiff is the front runner. If that happens to be the case, so be it. Uh, so now here we go with Steve Garvey. Now, what do you notice from the very beginning?
he's a
Give
baseball
$6
player.
for number 6. Yeah,
That's
look at
all it is.
his logo. Steve Story. He's wearing his number 6 jersey. Blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah.
he's qualified, I guess, because he's a Los Angeles Dodger. Is that right?
Yep.
This guy can barely freaking talk about the issues. I've seen a couple of his I saw a couple of the debates.
Steve's story. Steve Garvey's remarkable journey from bat boy to World Series champion is a testament to his unwavering dedication. So,
Does he
if
have
you need
any experience in this world here at all? In the real
if you
world?
need if you need a state senator to throw a baseball at a freaking, San Francisco Giants game or an LA Dodgers game, he's your guy. I mean, I'm going to show you another athlete in a minute, and he doesn't once mention or he doesn't put it out there in the forefront. People mention it in passing, but it's not the keystone to their campaign.
Right.
This is all he talks about is that he's a baseball player. Now, I don't agree with the title of this, but there's a point to it. Republican Steve Garvey won't win California's Senate race, so why is he running? Listen, you guys who live in California, you're the one who you are the ones who are going to determine who wins this election.
That's right.
Steve Garvey has no business running in the first place, much less,
Winning.
actually winning. Now, California is a little different. Theoretically, there could be two Republicans on the general ballot. Whoever the top two are are going to run against one another.
So it could be two Democrats.
It could be two Democrats. Right now, the consensus is Steve Garvey is actually going to get on the ballot because the three front runners are kind of splitting the vote.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, he's David versus Goliath, blah blah blah. Once,
But you know what? Look at what we're trying to explain here is say there was one other Republican running.
right,
It's entirely possible if the Democrats didn't prevail, didn't get as many numbers, it could be Garvey and whoever that second Republican is running.
right.
Which makes us a loser either way. Get out and
You
vote, okay?
you have to vote. And I honestly, any one of those three are fine.
Yep.
So whoever it is, don't
Keep in
allow.
mind, all of those three are in the House of Representatives right now. So whoever doesn't win this race, we need them back in the House.
Right. And on top of that, Steve Garvey, to the best of my knowledge, has never been in local politics.
No, he hasn't.
Now, here's another athlete, and I'm mentioning him for a reason. Uh, Deb mentioned there was an article about his polling numbers. I think this is more important because money talks and bullshit walks. Uh, Colin Allred outraises Ted Cruz at the end of this is the last quarter of 2023. Over 8 million as opposed to oh, okay, sorry. Over 4.8 million from October through December last year, as opposed to Cruz's campaign of 3.4.
So
Cruz is the incumbent, by the way.
keep in mind that the Democrats a while ago listed Cruz's seat as vulnerable. And, I believe Colin Allred can win. I believe we can finally get rid of Ted Cruz. Again, let me say this. We always use, well, gerrymandering and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Put all of that away. All right. Put it all away. We have to vote at better than 55% in every single race, because at 55% across this nation, the Republicans have a chance to win. When you get to 60, not so much. And when you get beyond 60, we can put them out of business. And I'm sorry, folks, I believe in a two-party system, but not this Republican Party. This is not a party, as you can see, that we can deal with. They have done nothing since they were installed, the Republican House.
Here is one more thing. And again, Deb, thank you for bringing this up. And please put the article in about the Houston Chronicle. The Houston Chronicle, they endorsed Biden. That's huge.
It is huge. They've never endorsed a Democratic candidate.
Ever, which shows the climate in Texas is changing. Okay, I'm not saying that Texas is going to back gun control right away. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that the attitudes are shifting enough to where we can actually get rid of Ted Cruz.
And that's how it works. It's a process. Okay, it's a process.
Now this, again, I just happened to see this, and this just shows how full of shit Ted Cruz is. This is back in 2021. Ted Cruz's campaign purchased $153,000 of his own books, the book that he authored, from an online bookseller in the 2 months after his latest book came out. Just to push, oh, I sold this many books. They're actually investigating him about it. He's thinking about it. How many did I actually buy? I don't remember. There he is.
He probably doesn't remember writing it.
And once again, this is Colin Allred's his campaign website. Hold on. So let's see here. Da da da. This is where I typically go in the news and press releases and on the issues. Now, I have criticized Republicans for doing this before, so I'm going to show this. Having a store is okay. It's what's in the store and how much the things are. You know, it's smart to do this, to sell sandwich boards or, yard signs or
Absolutely.
little magnets and, bumper stickers and all this. Okay? And t-shirts. This is fine.
It's when we sell,
$4,000, sneakers that are painted.
and bobbleheads of Donald Trump hugging the flag, and then bobbleheads of him as the Terminator, and then a bobblehead of him as something else, and gold coins, that or whatever they are. That he's a grifter. There's a difference between selling campaign material and being a grifter. Donald Trump is a grifter. Okay, there's a difference.
Now I'm seeing
And he's
patterns.
using his
Yeah,
money not to get elected. He's using his money to pay his legal bills.
right. Or to produce more Trumpinator teddy bears or
Right.
whatever the hell.
Whatever the
Uh,
fuck. You know.
again, there's a pattern with the Democratic things, and I also notice that from state to state, it's going to be a little different because each candidate has different issues in their specific state.
Right.
Um, Healthcare, reproductive jobs, economic growth, education, immigration, defending our democracy. Again, okay, no one should have to put that in their campaign, but this is where we're at.
Yep.
Gun violence prevention, equality under the law. So he mentions him being a civil rights attorney. Okay, outspoken leader and supporter of LGBTQ plus rights. Proudly supporting the passage of legislation enshrining marriage equality into law and voting to protect Texans from discrimination on the basis of their sexual orientation and gender. Energy and the environment, national security and veterans understand that he is a veteran. Agricultural and rural communities, which Texas is huge. Yes, they do have cities, but they're a huge agricultural state and seniors.
You know, I just want to bring something up that may not seem related, but if I don't bring it up, I'm going to forget.
Yep.
And it is kind of related because, some of these things are on their websites, right? But somebody suggested, how Biden is now working on a new plan to uh, uh, forgive student debt.
Right.
Somebody suggested that the way we could do this is do it in exchange for military service.
Right. Right.
How about this instead? How about we do it in exchange for, public service, working in your community, feeding the homeless, volunteering time. Well, again, I'm just saying this because this is something that's been brought up in the public arena, and you might be hearing it
Right.
as part of what some people suggest as a solution to this problem. But I say that, it's great to say military service, but why not peacetime service?
Right. My brother actually uh, got his degree from the GI Bill, so that exists.
Yeah.
However, teachers who were getting their education degree on Long Island, if they taught in a in an inner city school for a certain amount of time, they could get their student loan forgiven.
Right.
Okay, so stuff like that does exist. I don't think it exists for nurses or doctors going to certain hospitals or something of that nature. But yeah, it's an idea.
Yeah, it is an idea. So
So here's a couple of just recent news articles. All red votes early, and Dallas encourages Texans to make a plan to vote on election day, March 5th, coming up. NFL, that's the first time it's mentioned, by the way. NFL player turned attorney Colin Allred seeks to make Texas Black History with Senate campaign. Allred, Ted Cruz has done nothing to protect IVF and endorsed extreme policies that put Texans' freedoms at risk. Allred earns endorsements from broad coalition of Texas leaders and organizations. It's coming. I mean, this guy has a real shot.
He does. I like this one the best. Colin Allred invites Dallas doctor who fled state for abortion to State of the Union.
Yep. And this is it right here. Star Telegram endorsement. Democrats best option to face Ted Cruz for Senate. Oh, well, that was Allred.
Yep.
But the Houston Chronicle, I that again, that's huge. So there you go. And again, this is stuff that needs to happen. Allred meets with Texans, build support in Tarrant County, Dallas, Austin, and Commerce. Okay, that's just business as usual. You know,
Now he's doing this stuff the old-fashioned way. He's actually going out and meeting people.
right. So the next Senate seat we're going to talk about is Debbie Stabeno's seat. And she's still in, but she's retiring. Okay. And I again, I'm going to grouse about uh, writers. You know, Democrats scramble once Debbie Stabenow announced her retirement. Give me a break. All right, we gonna do it? Yeah. So this is, and this is AP. Stabeno's retirement scrambles Michigan Senate in 2024. So right now, and this is another one from CNN. Everybody's scrambling. Dems are scrambling to replace her. Debbie Dingell decided not to run. Okay, there is an article in here that basically says that she's staying where she's at. So it looks like it's going to be Alyssa Slotkin. She's the front runner right now. And again, you guys see this over and over again. Here are her basic campaign talking points: protecting our rights and democracy, um, keeping communities and kids safe, making things in America. And remember, she's in Michigan,
Yep.
so that's a big industrial state. And finally, defending and expanding Michigan's middle class. So, real quick, you know, Alyssa believes that protecting America's democracy is the ultimate kitchen table issue because every other issue depends on a vibrant and resilient democracy.
And you know what? I am right there with her. I don't
Yeah.
think you can. You know what? I'm sorry, but if we don't have a democracy to work with here, we are solving no problems, and we're not helping anybody else in the world either. I'm sorry, but this is a fact. I don't know. There are some people who still can't see it. They still think this is just like it used to be in 2016 or 2008 or whatever the hell.
Right.
Those
Right.
days are gone. They're gone. All right. We are in a very precarious, dangerous situation in the United States.
Alyssa has made defending and expanding voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQIA plus rights, and women's rights a priority in her time in public office. They also mentioned that she doesn't take PAC money.
And more, by the way, more and more Democrats are not taking PAC money. Okay. We are going in the right direction. In the meantime, we have the Republican Party pulling billionaires from other states to run in other states, and we're going to talk about that as we move forward on this video.
Alyssa's national security background, she has a national security background, means she's focused on things that are truly a threat to our kids. From physical safety to cybersecurity, she feels there is no higher responsibility than to protect the next generation, including but not limited to um, non-binary students like Next Benedict. It doesn't matter that it was in another state.
Right.
Okay. Alyssa is the first member of Congress to have two school shootings in her district, the first in Oxford and the second in Michigan State University in East Lansing. Alyssa has seen firsthand the toll gun violence has taken on Michigan and our children. And by the way, she's pushing for legislation. She's not talking about thoughts and prayers. Okay. So she also talks about, her family owned guns. Obviously, she has a national security background. I don't know where she was in the military, but this is where we're going with this. Now, making things in America. Okay. Alyssa believes we need to make more critical items in America so we're in control of our own economic security. She mentions something about China later, and I have something in here about that. So people are clear about what she's talking about. Again, she is in an industrial state, and that relies big on technology, industry, etc. She pushed leaders in both parties to pass the CHIPS Act into law to manufacture microchips in the United States and protect Michigan's auto industry. And she championed bills like the bipartisan infrastructure law to build our roads, bridges, and water infrastructure while creating tens of thousands of good paying union jobs across Michigan. And she's talking, by the way, supply chain is not a bad word. I
No,
remember Agenda 2020, whatever the hell it was. They're talking about supply chain. Okay. Defending and expanding Michigan's middle class. This is where she talks about China for a second. And I want to, clarify it before people, oh my God. Um, Alyssa is a big believer in protecting and expanding Michigan's middle class. That means addressing the things Michiganders talk about every night at the kitchen table, their pocketbooks, and their kids. Alyssa has fought to create jobs with dignity in Michigan, taken on the Chinese government, and I will show you what she's talking about in a minute, and worked to bring critical supply chains back to America and good paying jobs to back to Michigan. And she also talks about healthcare being a deeply personal issue for Alyssa Slotkin because her her mother was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer when she was uninsured, and her mother passed away. So this is part of the reason why she initially ran in the first place. Okay, here's what we're talking about with the whole China thing. Slotkin's statement on vote to create committee on competition with Chinese Communist Party. Select committee will focus on economic, technological, and military competition with the CCP. She basically says that China has unfair uh, practices that she wishes that the United States would investigate and work to alleviate. That's basically what she's talking about.
I don't think it's any surprise or there's any way you can deny that American business and American manufacturers have outsourced a lot of work to China because it's cheap
Right,
labor. It
right,
is. And people laugh, but when I had this guy that used to come in my store. I haven't seen him for a while. I don't know, maybe he's afraid to come in now that Donald Trump's got 91 criminal indictments against him. He's not talking so much,
right,
but he used to come in. His name was Earl. He used to come in and buy, Trump flags for Trump. Okay.
right, right, right.
They used to buy the little ones, and I'd say, Earl, you can't like Trump very much. There's big flags hanging on the wall. And you're buying these little shitty side road flags for Trump. Like, what's with that? And I'd say, by the way, just so you know, every one of those fucking flags is made in China. Just go look
Right,
at Tag on them.
Right.
We have the American flag manufactured in China. Just so everybody understands it, American business is greedy enough to just outsource everything wherever they can. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about getting some of that stuff back into this country. Okay.
So
So
I'm gonna read these couple of paragraphs. Yesterday, and this is I don't know when exactly this was, what date this was. Um, oh, okay, January 11th, 2023. Okay. So yesterday, I voted to create the House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the Chinese Communist Party. The CCP is a threat to our national and economic security, and Congress's response has often been disjointed and inconsistent, said Slotkin. Creating this committee is an opportunity to bring together all of the resources, expertise, and testimony we need to look comprehensively at the issues we have with the Chinese government, from strengthening our supply chains, reducing our economic dependence on China, which we do have, to deterring a military conflict with the Chinese, and also without hero worshiping a despot in China
right.
like Donald Trump does.
Just so we know, and I'll say it, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. Donald Trump dumps on China constantly. You know it. He's accused the Chinese of sending the Chinese flu over here. He has dumped on China from a business perspective, but he loves himself some Xi. He loves the strong
Right,
men. Okay.
right.
Here's a man who will shit all over China, but he will bow down to Xi because he's a despot and a strong man. So,
So
it's
let's talk about a couple of the Republican, the Republican candidates for this Michigan seat.
do we have to? Okay.
Eh, they need to know who they are.
I'm only kidding. I get it.
Mike Rogers, by the way, he endorsed Donald Trump. So if this
That's
if
all you
this
need to
doesn't come
know.
up, that's all
Next,
you need to know, really.
next.
There we go. Mike Rogers enters the Michigan Senate race as the first prominent Republican. Doesn't he look like the frickin' villain from Jaws, the frickin' mayor?
He does.
You know.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's him. And
Watched that the other night. That's one of my favorite movies.
GOP Senate candidate Mike Rogers backs Trump. There you go. Now, again, all these guys have their storefronts, but one thing popped out to me right away.
I don't mind that. That's okay. That's good. Yeah, I got it.
Mike Rogers for U.S. Senate golf ball set. That's who he's, and it's the very first item. That's who he's marketing for. Just so you guys know. So just for a second, I'm gonna go back. This is his. Eh, I was going to go to his friggin' here we go. I'll stop it. Dang it. Hold on. Oh, crud. All right. Hold on. I'm going to go to his uh, quote unquote uh, to his issues page if I can get to it. RogersForSenate.com. Yeah.
He's smart.
Again with the fear.
Yeah.
Michigan's future is at risk.
Yeah.
Michigan's way of life is worth defending. That's why I served in the Army. That's why I served in the FBI, taking down organized crime, blah, blah, blah. I can feel something is broken. Again, America under Biden and his cronies is going on in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You're
Yeah.
going to support Trump. He already said it. So there you go. So The next guy we're going to talk about, and I don't think that he's going to go anywhere, to be completely honest with you. He's a former House rep in Michigan. Guy's name is Justin Amash. He was a Republican, but he dropped out of the Republican Party. He's now, I believe, he's now a libertarian.
That's just as bad. That's a Republican with free market attitudes.
Right. Blah, blah, blah.
Whatever.
Okay. So basically, this guy, he's saying that Alyssa Slotkin and Mike Rogers are basically the same candidate, and he's the one to fight for you. He's the one that's going to defend the Constitution. He is considered a Federalist. Blah blah blah. So,
That's a thing right now that you need to stay away from.
yep. So, it's Ballotpedia page.
So can I stop for a minute?
Yeah, sure,
I just got a question. Our
sure.
borders are wide open. Is that what in Michigan is that what he said? Our borders are wide open?
I don't remember. I don't think he mentioned,
I thought I
Biden
saw
and his
it, but I
cronies and blah blah blah. Maybe he did.
is he talking about Canada?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well,
If
who's
he's talking about the open
across
borders.
the border from Canada? I mean, I'm curious. His state is bordered by Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, the Great Lakes, and Canada.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, are we gonna have a wall up between us and Canada now? Is that what we're gonna go with that? Stop it. Stop
Yeah.
the nonsense. Really. God almighty.
Um. So,
I had to.
uh,
Couldn't.
this is Justin Amash's Federalist page, with which my computer's having a seizure right now.
I would too if I were trying to load a
Ex-
public page.
Exactly.
Don't pick up the computer. I'm sorry, but
So, let's see. Here we go. Justin has been a leader in the incorporation of Facebook and other social media into his work as a public official.
woohoo!
So he tweets.
Yeah,
And yes,
that's all the GOP does is tweet, for fuck's sake. They don't work.
unbelievable. He also said, "Oh God, have mercy." He also sets new standards for transparency and accountability in the Michigan State House.
Good God.
Uh, in October 10th, in October 2010, Time magazine named Justin one of its 40 under 40 rising stars of U.S. politics.
And that's why you don't know his fucking name today in 2023.
14 years ago. All right, come on.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Hold on. Let me unshare because it's doing the stupid
Yeah,
hamster
we
wheel
don't want to
thing.
get stuck on Justin's page, do we? No.
No, I really don't. And
Nope.
I don't want to go into another freeze. Are you going to let me
New
get out?
computer. Dave's getting a new computer.
So you got, you'll still see the trash behind my thing, but it'll be much clearer. Hold on.
You get a good view of the trash then.
Kind of like you're getting a good view of the GOP trash. Let's see if
We got plenty of view of the GOP trash every day.
right. All right, come on.
You don't need to be helping.
Uh-oh.
Are we frozen?
I thought I was going to be frozen for a minute. I heard the buzz. Hold on 1 second. It's not even letting me. What the hell? Ugh.
Are you frozen? See, he's frozen again, which puts me under pressure to talk. So while he's frozen and we're trying to figure out what planet he's on, we'll keep talking here. All right. So I just want you to know that I've decided that I'm absolutely fed up with the conversation around immigration. I've heard some unbelievably ridiculous shit coming out of people's mouths, and I've seen some unbelievably ridiculous posts on Facebook, and it is clear. Oh, okay, we got to start this all over again. He's gone, but I'll talk while I'm waiting for him. It is clear that many people in America are buying in to some of the chatter. I don't know about many people, but some people are clearly. And I really want to set the record straight about immigration, because one thing became abundantly clear during the dueling visits between Joe Biden and Donald Trump at the border in Texas. And what was most clear was that Texas people at the border do not want Donald Trump, his policies, and do not appreciate his call for militarization of the border. So you people are buying into some things that aren't true. There are not billions of people flowing over the border every day. This is Dave. Hang on. Talk to me. We're on film. Oops, wait a minute. Sorry. It's been a long day. Go ahead. Okay. All right. Okay, bye. Okay, so we're going to cut the stream and then come back because he froze. He's got to restart. But I want to finish saying this before we get back on the Senate, because sometimes you have to improvise. And I'm improvising now, and I've been thinking about this for a while. There are not millions of people streaming across the border every day. Contrary to popular opinion, it is not easy to gain asylum or citizenship in the United States. In fact, it's very difficult. There's a lot of paperwork and a lot of forms, and you are tracked while that process is going on. And as far as illegal immigration in the United States, you know, they talk about that being the great replacement theory. We have approximately 350 million people living here. The number of illegal immigrants in America is about 10 million people out of 350 million people. They're not doing a really great job replacing us, if that's what the case is. So the illegal immigrant population in the United States, has always been here since the beginning of time. Okay, it's always happened, and it will continue to happen. All right, just less once we have controls in place. Okay. It represents 3% of our population, folks. So let's stop it. All right. You are succumbing to the fear that's being created by the GOP, and I am determined to dispel that fear. And I'm going to be spending some time over the next couple of weeks making videos about it. And by the way, the allegations that they're destroying our culture, immigrants have helped enrich our culture. Sorry, folks. I mean it. Get a clue. So I'm going to stop here and then we're going to rejoin. Okay. We'll be back shortly.